Good afternoon, everybody. You know, there's many things that amaze me about our awesome Savior. One of the things that amazes me about Him is how He will plant seeds in our lives and what those seeds end up growing and developing into. They do far more than we can ever hope or imagine. One seed that was planted in my life from a very young age by my mom and dad was the seed of FCA. I'll never ever forget it, and it's continued to grow in my life even to this day. From my early childhood into middle school, into high school, into college, and like I said, now into Redwood Falls and beyond. It all started back in 1985. My parents loaded us up in our blue two-door Buick Regal to head to Estes Park, Colorado for our very first family vacation to an FCA camp. And there was a seed that was planted on that day that I'll never ever forget. I'll never forget at that camp the people who love the Lord, the people who love the Lord and also love sports. And they combine those things together. And then throughout those times, I came back to middle school and high school. There's three things that I'll never forget with FCA. First of all, our Sunday evening huddles that we had at our school, where we got to participate with other athletes in our school and learn more about Christ. And then we'd come over to my parents' house and we'd have a Bible study. My parents would have food for the kids. And I remember getting to know my classmates even better, but I remember the love that my parents had for the people of Becker. And I was impressed with how much they loved the young people, and they wanted the young people to know this Savior, Jesus, in a very personal and real way. A second thing that I'll never forget from my years in middle school and high school is the various camps that I went to. I went to golf camp, I went to basketball camp, I went to football camp, and I'll never forget the young people that I met. And I was like, I want to be like these young people. These are people that love the Lord. And I remember the huddle leaders who were in college that loved the Lord and they played their sport really, really well. And I'll also never forget that we went to an event at Bethel College when we were in high school, where my dad met a man named Kevin Onenson, who invited our family to a place called Cottonwood, Minnesota, which I had never ever heard before. And we went to Cottonwood, Minnesota my sophomore year of high school. And when we drove in, we were like, that water tower is wrong. It's a long ways to Cottonwood. But that night, for the very first time, it's amazing how everything comes full circle. It was the first time that I met someone named Robin Cozen, who eventually becomes Robin Knutson, who eventually becomes kind of my boss in Southwest Minnesota with FCA. Also, as a side note, it was the first time that our family met the Ganifke family. And I was a sophomore in high school, and there was a fifth grader at the time. I don't remember her. Her name was Amber Ganifke, and she eventually becomes Amber Lundeen, my wife. And thankfully, Kevin Onenson turned in the registration for leadership camp late to go to Colorado, so they had to go to Indiana, where Amber met my sister Kristen, who they talked and went to Bethel together and said, how about we become roommates? And then my sister introduces Amber to her handsome older brother, and the rest is history. So FCA also has brought Amber and I, my wife, together. But it is amazing how FCA has done amazing things. And then I went into college, and when I was in college, I went as a huddle leader to different camps, the golf camp, the football camp. And then I started to notice the coaches. I was like, there's something different with the way that those guys coach. And there's a different way that they teach and the way that they handle their families. Yes, I had seen it from my dad, but I grew up with that. But now I started to see even more and more coaches, and I was like, okay, I want to go in and now become a teacher and coach myself. And I was hired in Redwood Falls, Minnesota, my first job out, have never ever left. And it's amazing how things come full circle, like things with Robin, and now the relationship that we have and our family have with the Knutsons. But I got to see now full-fledged how my parents love the young people of Becker. My wife and I love the people, the young people of Redwood Falls. Just like so many adults here love the people from your communities. And what we want is the same thing that FCA gave to us. FCA is where we really learn to make our relationship our own through the platform of athletics and through the huddle leaders, through the campers that we got to meet. And that's where it's amazing when I look back about how FCA has just drastically influenced my life and our family's life. And my wife and I were talking about this on the way over here. Our first family vacation was to FCA camp at Luther College, where we loaded up our 3 kids. Our youngest was 3 months at the time, to go back and give to something that's so great. And even to this day, it's our family highlight every summer when we go to FCA camp, where now I get to go serve as a coach, and I get to have coaches' Bible studies in Redwood, and now I get the opportunity to lead a huddle in Redwood. So in short, FCA, what do you say? You can't really describe it. How I describe it is we have an amazing Savior. And young people, we have an amazing Savior who loves you very, 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 very much and wants nothing more to have a very personal, real relationship with you. Thank you so much to everybody supporting FCA. It makes a tremendous difference in all of our communities. And every one of our communities we want to win over for God and His kingdom and His glory. Thank you very much.